Hey guys, it's Tony here at Gamefreakblog again, just bringing you another video. Firstly, I'd just like to say thanks for all the support, all the messages on the last few videos that I've been doing. It's you guys that keeps me really doing this. I love sitting and talking about video games. I love putting videos up, whether they're good, they're bad, they're ugly, whatever it is. And I just really appreciate all the interactions and messages and all that kind of stuff that I've been having on YouTube and via Twitter with all you guys. Everyone who's watching this video now officially kicks ass. So you've got that straight from me. What I want to look at today is just something that's been kind of like really ticking me off like a little bit. It's nothing major. I hope it really doesn't turn into that much of a colossal fucking rant, but it's probably going to. I just want to look at the recently announced news regarding two of Capcom's kind of like big games, namely Marvel vs Capcom 3 and Streetfighter 4. Now, unless you've been kind of hiding under a rock or like me, haven't really had time to be online in the last week or so, Capcom have announced a couple of new games that are going to be coming out. Sorry. The first is Ultimate Marvel vs Capcom 3, and then the second is Street Fighter 4 Arcade Edition 2012. I just want to kind of look at the whole kind of DLC thing that Capcom's got going on at the minute, because as far as I'm concerned, it absolutely sucks. It just really sucks ass, and it's pissing me off as a fan and as a gamer. Now, if we take Marvel vs Capcom 3 for starters, I mean, basically, I've been a fan of the Marvel vs Capcom games for a while, ever since the first one came out in the arcade and it was released on the Dreamcast. I absolutely loved it. The second game came out, excuse me. The second game came out, it improved on it a millionfold. Marvel vs Capcom 2 is absolutely amazing. There was tons of characters in there. I mean, I still play it to this day. You know, it was released on the Dreamcast. I've still got the Dreamcast version. I've got it also on the original Xbox as well. I haven't downloaded it from Xbox Live yet because there's no point. If I want to play it, I can just stick one of those old consoles on. But the whole kind of DLC thing when it came out with Marvel vs Capcom 3, I mean, you had the kind of like initial shadow battle opponents that were coming out. The shadow battles were essentially just different AI opponents that you could kind of take on and challenge. I believe there's around about 10 available to date on Xbox Live and on PSN, and the character I think they retail for about 80 points a pack. So I mean, essentially, as far as I'm concerned, you're paying for something that should essentially be free. I mean, you're not talking anything great apart from just an AI routine. You know, I haven't downloaded any of them because this is the whole thing with. I'm sounding like a whining fucking maggot, and sometimes I am. The whole thing with DLCs, you do not have to buy it. You don't have to buy it. Yeah. All the stuff with the shadow battles, 80 points each, I was like, you know what, I can do without that. Well, then they kind of started to release the DLC characters. So we had like Shuma Gorath and Jill on there, which, you know, fairly good characters, but 400 Microsoft points per character. And as far as I'm concerned, that's just a bit shit. I mean, currently at the moment, I saw online the other day that they're doing the whole kind of like Gears of War map pack. For 400 points, you can get every single map they've released for Gears of War 2 for the same price as one fucking Marvel vs Capcom character. It's a bit shitty. There was all the kind of rumours that some people had found some kind of like code or some leftover kind of material on the Marvel vs Capcom 3 disc that kind of previewed some of the DLC characters that were coming out. So it was rumoured that there's going to be Dr. Octopus and Frank West and Phoenix Wright. They didn't really come to light up until the newly announced Ultimate Marvel vs Capcom 3, where there's going to be a bunch of new characters out. They're making a load of gameplay tweaks on there as well. The gameplay tweaks are fine. You know, have a mix around. If some sort of character's too powerful, such as Sentinel or something like that, go in and nerf it a little bit. I've got no problem with that. A free update, just give me a little update. But, you know, they're releasing this kind of like pack. It's got a bunch of new characters in it. They've only kind of confirmed a few, but, you know, from the Capcom lineup, we've got Strider, who everyone has been looking forward to. There's Firebrand, Virgil from Devil May Cry, Frank West, Phoenix Wright, Nemesis from Resident Evil 3. On the Marvel side, there's Ghost Rider, Doctor Strange, Nova, Rocket Raccoon, Hawkeye, yada yada. They're going to be releasing some tweaks and everything like that. Now, basically, Capcom are saying they they could not release this as DLC, which as far as I'm concerned is complete and utter rubbish. What I saw on the Edge website the other day, Edge magazine, if you don't read it or check the website, I'm sure you kind of like do, but what they reported on there is that Capcom said that, you know, all of this stuff was originally planned as DLC, but they kind of changed that because of the kind of tsunami that happened and some staff health issues and whatever. And I don't mean to kind of beat down on whatever the tsunami or anything in any way. I'm sure it was a fucking tragedy for Japan. It still is to this day. But you just kind of like turning something. I mean, they're releasing the full thing anyway. You know, surely they can just like drip feed out like the new characters without it having to be a new title. I don't care if it's only going to be coming out and it's a reduced kind of like price or whatever. If it's going to be coming out for £25 or £30 or whatever. Yeah, all right, you get like a bunch of new characters in it or something like that, but it's nothing that couldn't be done with DLC. I'm flat out calling them liars if they say, no, we could never do this. It has to be a standalone package. No, it doesn't. You could release it as DLC. You could drip feed us, just give us like 2 characters a month, a new background, something like that. You know, I'm just balls out now. I'm not going to buy it. I'm not going to get the ultimate Marvel vs. Combat 3. Ticked me off a little bit, so I'm just going there. Street Fighter 4, as far as I'm concerned, is pretty much the worst culprit of Capcom for all of this DLC stuff. I love Street Fighter to high heaven. Street Fighter 2 was when I got it on the Super Nintendo. I used to play it in the arcade. I used to literally sit, I'd play it non-stop. Loved it. And, you know, I've played all the incantations, all the different alphas and everything like that. And basically Street Fighter 4, when it came out, loved it. Absolutely fantastic stuff. You know, the very first DLC that came out for Street Fighter 4, they brought out the Championship DLC, which was free. Fantastic, thank you very much. It had like a replay mode, so you could record, upload and download different matches. It had an enhanced point system. It messed with the tournament matching system, you know, so it kind of gave you a bit more of a fair matchmaking when you kind of like went in, which was like fine. Then they started releasing the costume pack, so that, you know, they released 5 costume packs in total, which essentially is just an aesthetic change to the character. Some of the costumes were alright, some of them, you know, looked a bit shit as far as I'm concerned, but they were 320 points each, yeah. Basically, you could buy the complete costume set for 1,000 Microsoft points, I think it was. Then you'd get all of the kind of like costumes in there. And these are costumes that were available in the arcade edition. They were already in the arcade edition, yeah. We just got bloody screwed over by having to buy them, you know, as DLC. Which again, you can say, well, you don't have to buy them. And I didn't buy any of them, yeah. Didn't buy them at all. Then they kind of came out with Super Street Fighter 4. It had 10 new characters. It had like tweaks for all of the existing ones that were in there. It had new online modes, etc., etc., etc. Yeah, which was like kind of like great. I was still playing Street Fighter 4 at this time, so I kind of thought, you know what, I'm going to kind of like hold on a bit for the Super version, and I'm glad I kind of like did. And basically, what they did with the DLC for this, the very first DLC that came out was the complete costume pack for the Street Fighter 4. You could download that pack for Super Street Fighter, if you're bearing with me on this, for free. That would cost you nothing. But then they released another bunch of costume packs for 320 points each, and then a complete costume pack for all the characters in the game and the new characters as well, because obviously there's like 10 new characters, and that was a colossal 1,414 Microsoft points. I mean, for that money you could buy several AAA rated Xbox Live Arcade games. I was just like, no, I'm not buying it. I was almost kind of tempted a week or so ago to go out and get Super Street Fighter, because I wanted to hang in with the new characters. I wanted to, you know, have a play with them. I've got it on my 3DS. I kind of thought, shit, I want to be playing this on the big screen. And I'm just glad that I held back, because then they announced the Arcade Edition, which is out now as like DLC. 1,200 Microsoft points for another 4 characters. So you've got Evil Ryu, Yun and Yang. I can't remember the other guy's name. Is it Oni or something like this? I think they might have made a few tweaks or something in there. Whatever. There's going to be a retail version coming out, if it's not already out as well, which may be kind of like cheap. I may plump in and get it. You know, it's got all the characters and all this lot. But then just today, I've heard the news that there's going to be another arcade edition coming out. This time it's the Street Fighter 4 Arcade Edition version 2012. And it's when's it going to stop? When is it going to stop? I mean, really, this whole DLC kind of like thing, I don't, as I said, I must sound like I'm just whinging. I don't have to buy it. I haven't bought any of it. I haven't bought any of the costumes. I don't even know what I'm fucking moaning about. But I think it's just, as a customer, as a gamer, you know, you could say this for map packs with any game. You know, you're probably all going to disagree with me on this, but I just believe that Capcom, more than anybody else, EA used to be the evil people. Activision with their multiple guitar heroes and everything like that, you know, were known as bloody the Satan incarnate on Earth. But as far as I'm concerned, for shafting gamers DLC wise, Capcom is starting to take the biscuit. I don't care if you know, give me a new character, give me a 4-character pack with a couple of new backgrounds in it, 400 Microsoft points, I'll be bloody happy. But 400 each, nah, you can keep it, Capcom. So, anyway, I'm glad I've got that off my chest, guys. If you disagree, if you agree, leave me a comment, let me know what you think. I'd love to hear your feedback about this, because as you can probably tell, it's ticked me off. So this is Tony from